Okay, beginning now, Chapter 2 of the PMBOK Guide, which these are the objectives of Chapter 2 for your reading. Okay, so this is a body of knowledge, the PMBOK Guide, a body of knowledge, not a book of knowledge. Oh, drives me nuts when people say that it's a body of knowledge. It's just about understanding the discipline. Keep in mind it's not a checklist, or it seems like an abbreviated checklist, but really it must be integrated, prioritized, and tailored. Also, for those of you that go on to seek the professional certification exam, it is a PMP, Project Management Professional. I just like to emphasize that. Okay? So keep in mind that there are many project influences, including on the left side of this chart, EEFs, or enterprise environmental factors, and on the right, OPAs, organizational process assets. And EEFs can be external and internal. OPAs, again, important for the exam, two sets. There's processes, policies, and procedures, and the other being corporate knowledge base. A third project influence that is mentioned is our organizational systems, power, influence, interest, those sort of things. Okay? So it's important to understand EEFs, page 38 of the PMBOK Guide. EEFs are things outside of the project manager's control. They may be internal to your company, they may be even internal to your project, but outside of your control, not under you or the team's control, but they will influence, constrain, or direct the project. And some internal and external examples are listed here. Then we have OPAs, organizational process assets. Notice that there aren't any external ones, they're internal. And I highlight the word asset. These are assets to you and your project, so think of them that way. These are things that you can manage and manipulate and use and update to enhance the success of your project. Okay. Part A, processes, policies, and procedures are generally not updated, but Part B, corporate knowledge base, is updated throughout the project. OPAs generally serve as inputs, and so do EEFs, by the way. Once in a while, OPAs serve as outputs, especially when we want to update them, say, in a closing process. Okay? Then we move on to organizational systems. So project managers have to operate within the constraints of the organization. Okay? So I equate it to, how do you have a fire on the left? You have a fire when you have fuel, a heat source, and oxygen. Bam! Then you have a fire. Well, to have a great project, you have to balance authority, responsibility, and accountability. Bam! You have a fire. And what leads to these are project managers' competence, power, political savvy, influence, and leadership. And this all ties to things that the PMBOK Guide begins to refer to as systems knowledge. Systems knowledge. We have to be aware of organizational systems. Systems are the responsibility of management. They're a synergy, a collection of components that produce results. They're factors. And there are many principles of systems, including, as I list at the bottom of the slide, they are dynamic, they can be optimized, and they are non-linear. Okay? Now, be aware of management. There are key functions of general management, which I list. Many of them our military members would recognize, but frankly, all of us can associate with them. Unity of command, unity of direction, fair pay, fair treatment, morale, etc. And I refer to this as then CLIP. Competence, power, politics, influence, and leadership. CLIP. That is the essence of management in the project. Okay. Continuing then with organizational structure types. there are many, and this continues on page 45. Okay. The organizational structure types have variables. You'll have to assess which structures are available and how can we optimize structures within our project. Sometimes the organizational structure types is a result of the study of trade-offs between those couple of variables. Frankly, there isn't a one-size-fits-all. Okay, you want to consider factors in project types, like the span of control, the clear path for escalation. I escalate regularly at work in a matrix organization when I find a wall that I can't get over. You want to be able to escalate to the next level, especially if you have a boss willing to help drive to project success. Notice accountability and responsibility on page 46. Simplicity of design, efficiency, etc. I like the chart on page 47, table 2.1. And with that, on the left side, it shows the various types of organizations, which I also summarize on this slide. This is much more expanded from the PMBOK Guide version 5, which frankly had functional, project-tized, or now project-oriented, and matrix organization. The new PMBOK Guide adds virtual, hybrid, and PMO as organizational structures. And you'll notice in the definitions there the advantages and disadvantages for each. Also notice a matrix organization can be weak, balanced, or strong. And I kind of summarize what we're doing there. Oh, also I want to point out, in a functional organization, you, the project manager, will often have to work with a functional manager, somebody responsible for the subject matter experts, but you are the project expert. And this is the way I operate at Charter. I'm a senior program manager. I have many project managers working for me. And I integrate daily with directors who own subject matter experts. We call them principal technologists and technologists. So I have got to negotiate with them. Sometimes I do become a project coordinator or project expediter, but I work to drive a balanced matrix or a strong matrix organization for my own benefit. I'm also a virtual organization because half of my staff is in Charlotte or in Stamford, Connecticut. Okay? Notice along the bottom the power shift between, and the power shift references project manager, has the least power in a functional organization. Power grows through weak, virtual, balanced, and strong matrix, and then projectized and PMO organizations. Okay. No, I want you to take note of page 47, kind of study it and highlight it. Notice some of the key aspects. How the project manager's authority changes, whether they're part-time or full-time, and who manages the budget. Those are great test questions. Also, final notes is a nickname for a functional organization is a silo organization, because it's like a silo you see on a farm. It's straight up and down largely. You might have all nurses working for one functional manager, all doctors working for another functional manager, and all administration working for another functional manager, for example. Projectized organization is often referred to as two bosses, no home. You have no home. When the project's over, you don't have anywhere to go because you are in a projectized or project-oriented organization. And then a matrix organization is often referred to as no home. You have no home. A matrix organization is often referred to as two bosses. You have two bosses, your functional boss, your project boss. Okay, that was fun. That was chapter 2, short and sweet, but very interesting in understanding how to make projects a success.